This is true World War II, comic economics. In 1939, the world stood on the edge of a precipice. The U.S. was an economic giant. Britain was solid, but stretched. Germany, fierce and aggressive, had built themselves a shaky foundation of debt and IOUs. Japan, lean and determined, lacked the material resources for a prolonged war. Germany, however, gained early victories, but only by means of a spectacular economic gamble. They managed to plunder their way across Europe, but this strategy was unsustainable. Britain, meanwhile, was fighting alone after the fall of France and faced its own crisis. It desperately needed American supplies. But the U.S. neutrality meant cash and carry only, and Britain's coffers were emptying. Then, the whole game changed. America ditched its neutral stance and rose as the arsenal of democracy. The factories that had gone silent during the Great Depression roared to life, churning out tanks, planes, and ships. The U.S. economy swelled with newfound industrial might, ready and able to supply the Allied cause. The Lend Lease Act was the masterstroke. Now, instead of taking cash, America was loaning and leasing war supplies to everyone. It was a lifeline. For Britain, the Soviet Union, China, the Lend-Lease program provided the way to continue the fight. It was a brilliant strategic investment, tying the Allied victory directly to American industry. In the Pacific, Japan, starved of oil, rubber, minerals, launched its own resource grab. They invaded Southeast Asia and shocked the Dutch and British colonial powers there. In the Atlantic, the German U-boats waged a brutal economic war, sinking 3,000 Allied merchant ships to choke off Britain's supply lines. Every lost ship was a devastating blow. And when Germany invaded the Soviet Union, the Soviets responded with a logistical masterstroke. They dismantled entire factories and moved them piece by piece, thousands of miles eastward by train beyond the reach of the German army. On the home front, women poured into factories, taking the place of men. The D-Day landings were the ultimate logistical test, the equivalent of a massive flowing bridge of ships and war supplies. Germany, by 1944, was on its knees, stripped by the bombings of its industrial base. The German war machine was grinding to a halt. And when the dust settled, the world was changed forever. The war's end gave rise to a new economic order. The Bretton Woods Agreement and the Marshall Plan not only rebuilt Europe, but also solidified the dominance of the two new superpowers, setting the stage for the Cold War.